And today, guys, we're going to talk about, are you working out just to prove that you're not old? Are you working out just to stage off that later age? Or are you truly working out to feel better, to move better, to be healthier? Are you just worried about getting older? Or are you okay with coming of age, but being healthy in that age? So, matter of fact, give me an answer in the comments, guys. Are you okay with getting older, but just being healthy at an older age? Or are you just trying to prove that you're still young? Because a lot of us go through that. So today, guys, on Lunchtime Logic, I got a letter from a young lady, and we're going to get into her life a little bit. So her name is Jeanette. Jeanette is 46 years old right now, right? But she used to be a college basketball player. She was playing basketball from the age of 8 all the way through college, right? And even after college, she played in women's leagues. She ran, she lifted, she competed at a high level, right? And a lot of you, if you've ever played in these women's or men's leagues, you know that, coming out of college, depending on the participants in the league, these can be very competitive. So she competed, right? So for the last 20 years, she's been someone who's competed all the time, right? So obviously, as time goes on, life starts to take a hold, right? She has children, she has a profession now, and even her parents are getting older. So life is just a bit different. She's also a wife. So at the age of 46, what she's finding out is that she still feels like she can compete and perform as an athlete, but she's dealing with the after effects. Her knees might hurt, right? She'll have back pain. Mentally, she'll be stressed out because she didn't play a good game in the women's league, right? And so she's very irritated, very stressed out, and just not enjoying life as much outside of the workouts, outside of the basketball, outside of participating in the women's league, right? So not too long ago, she's talking to her husband about it, and he said, listen, it seems like to me that you're playing just to prove you're not old anymore, not to be healthy. You're just playing just to prove you're not old, but you're not doing it to be happy and be healthy. And she said that really stuck with her. And then she started, reassessing what's going on with her. Is she just playing to prove that she can still play? Is she feeling like she has to uphold a certain standard because she used to be a college basketball player? Is she actually feeling good when she plays? Is she actually feeling like she should be competing on this level, or is it tearing her down, right? So now she's bouncing back and forth between, am I trying to be somebody that I used to be, or am I okay transitioning into the role that I should be playing now, which is just the older athlete who still can play, who's still in really good shape and really good health, but can't be the person that they used to. And what she doesn't want to do is get older and older and be out of touch with reality, because she feels like, man, if I go another 10 years like this, am I going to be the person who never let go of my 25-year-old self? And I still think I'm that, and I'm validated by trying to compete with that younger person. So she said she's okay with not being a professional athlete or a college level athlete anymore, but she's not necessarily okay with not performing like one. So we're going to get into that today. So guys, like I always say, please put your comments and your advice in the comment section, man. Let me tell you something. I'm great at giving advice. Do you understand? But you guys have different lived experiences than I have. You have different knowledge than I have. So you can give insight to this person who wrote in to coachmark22@gmail.com. That is coachmark22@gmail.com. And you can give them some valuable advice so they can move forward, right? And live a healthy lifestyle and maybe do better in their journey than they've done the last year or the last 3 years. So my advice is not the only one that counts. So I like when you guys put advice in the comment box, man, and we participate together, all right? That's what we do on Transformation Station. It is not about Coach Mark. He is a participant. You understand? So if this is your first time here, this is Lunchtime Logic. Why do we call it Lunchtime Logic? Because it's lunchtime. Okay, that's number one. But number two, I also eat lunch, guys, as you know, right? I like to share what I have in my bowl today, each and every day, actually. And so that a lot of us can, because nutrition is the staple of our health and fitness journey, guys. Let's just stop playing around with it. All right. Your nutrition is going to be the staple of your health and fitness journey. So it's either going to move you in the right direction or it's going to take you in the wrong direction. All right. So that's why we talk about nutrition a lot. And on Lunchtime Logic, I like to eat lunch with you because we get more relaxed when we eat lunch together. All right. It's easy to have a conversation when you break bread a little bit. All right. So today, in today's bowl, I have half of a sweet potato. All right. Half of a larger sweet potato. 5 ounces of ground turkey and 5 ounces of chicken breast. All right. Now, you guys know I like to do 2 proteins and a starch, right? Or a carbohydrate source. So a lot of times for me, that brings me into about 550, 600 calories. I eat pretty much 4 times a day. So I'm going to come in somewhere between 2,400 and 2,600 calories, right? My maintenance, where I should be at, is a little like closer to 3,400. I burn somewhere between 3,400 and 3,700 calories a day. So I'm under caloried a lot of days. I just got to be honest with you. Okay. But it works for me because I overeat. So part of our transformation journey is identifying our negatives, identifying where we fall short, identifying the problem areas. My problem area has always been I overeat. So when I'm doing well, I'm doing well, right? It's when it's my off days. It's when I fall off for a week or so. That's when I struggle. So what I found is that when it comes to calorie counting, I'll just plan to come in a little bit lower, right? Maybe 700-800 calories lower, which many would say that's kind of that you're pretty much in a cut. But for me, I'm also an easy gainer. So not only do I overeat, but I'm an easy gainer. So guys, I can put on 20 pounds. I'm talking about in a week, nobody's business, right? So I just realized it's better for me to come in under my maintenance calories, even when I'm on maintenance. And that just helps me keep my body fat down. So that's where we're at that, all right? Now, this young lady, former athlete, still wants to hoop. We can't even really call her former college athlete, but she's still an athlete. And her life is changing. And so, because her life is changing, she is not really welcoming the changes that come along with it. So, guys, if you were ever an elite athlete, okay, if you were ever at the top of your game in any area, you get used to being that person, okay? I was never that person. I have a kid who plays college football, so he's one of those people, okay? And those people are few and far between. So when you're used to being the best on your team, the person who runs the touchdowns, the person who scores the baskets, the person who hits the baseball the farthest, that's what makes you elite, okay? So a lot of people that you will see, let's say somebody's 30 years old, they've probably been that person since they were 10. You don't turn into that person when you're 19. You were always that person. So that becomes part of your identity, okay? And some people would say, oh, Mark, it shouldn't become part of your identity. Sports are just what you do. That's not who you are. But we're a sum of our habits, right? And to become that elite athlete, their habits are different than yours, okay? They have to wake up early. They have to work out a couple times a day. They have to practice their craft. They have to study their craft on whether it's film or through text. They're around other elite athletes all the time, right? Their sleep patterns are different. Their nutrition is different. So because of that, it does become their identity. So for Jeanette, it has become her identity. And when it becomes your identity, when you look in the mirror, that's what you see. When you go to the gym, that's how you perform. Even in your profession, I'm used to being on top. I'm used to being punctual. I'm used to answering emails quickly. I'm used to overperforming. If there's sales to be had, I'm going to get them. I'm used to communicating with people. I outperform. So that has become part of her identity. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's hard to go from being an elite athlete to being just either an average athlete or a non-athlete. They say many people deal with struggles that, go as far as depression after they're done playing their respective sport. Mainly because they're used to that regimen, they're used to the schedule, they're used to being around the people. A lot of people feed off the energy of the crowd. Guys, my kid plays in front of 110,000 people on a given Saturday. When that's over, whenever that might be over, that's going to be an adjustment. Now, some dudes will tell you, oh, I love it now, man. My life is more private. It's more quiet. I'm cool. Like, I really don't need all of that. But for the people who really love that, can you imagine how they feel? How does it feel that 100,000 people are screaming and cheering for you? And then at some point, they're just not, right? So it takes you through some things. So Jeanette, I can understand where you're at just as far as what you're used to has changed. I've never been in that arena that you were in, but what you are used to has changed. So by you still playing in these women's leagues, still running, still lifting, still performing, still competing, you're putting in 100%. And many days you feel like you're just as good as the 26-year-old women, the 28-year-old women. And let's be clear, you might be. You might be. The difference is that your body has taken on wear and tear that theirs hasn't. Because let's just say everybody started playing at the age of 10. Or no, you said 8. So if you started playing at 8 and you're 48 right now, honey, that's 40 years. Wear and tear. You're playing against somebody who's 28, that's only 20 years wear and tear. I'm sure you can do the math. Mostly what we feel in older age, guys, is wear and tear. Mostly what we feel is the lack of practice or recovery, because let's be clear, you might play in a women's league with 28-year-olds, but 3 years ago they were practicing every single day. It was 20 years ago that you were practicing every single day, right? So you haven't done that in years, but you're expecting to go out and perform the same way that they are. Our expectations on how our 40-something-year-old body should perform versus someone who's in their 20s becomes a tad bit unrealistic, just because more recently they've just involved themselves in more consistent and repetitive activities than you have. That's normally what it is. Because Jeanette, I guarantee you're feeling like a lot of these girls ain't even as good as you. You're like, oh yeah, well, I was her age, I was way better than her. Or you might be better than them now. You might have better ball handling skills. You might shoot the ball better. You might pass better. Your IQ might be higher. All the things. The wear and tear. Also, let me sidestep for a second, because Jeanette, you got to understand, you gave birth to children, which is one of the most amazing miracles of life, right? It's producing another life. If you're competing against people who haven't done that before, how can you expect your body to perform the same way that theirs does? And I know, Jeanette, you're going to say, oh, nah, but Mark, after the birth of my kids, I got right back in shape. I played all the way up till I was 4 months pregnant and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, you did. And you played pretty well. And you worked out and you ate right. But your body went through a monumental change. So to expect for it to come out the same way, it's almost impossible. Just from the hormone imbalance you went through for 10 to 16 months. Not only that, our food choices now that we're mom. Because many times, Jeanette, I know we end up eating pizza. We end up eating ice cream. We end up having some cake, some brownies, some cookies. Because of the kids, right? I know it. I've been there. I'm still there. So again, 4 years ago, when you're eating cake and ice cream with the kids on a random Saturday, the women that you're competing against, they were playing college basketball. And I ain't saying it's impossible that they might not have had some ice cream, but they also ran 400 laps that day. So it changed. It was they lived a different lifestyle. So your lifestyle has slowed down. Your lifestyle has changed. Your priorities have changed. So I just want to clarify this. If you expect to perform like you did 20 years ago, I don't even see how that's possible, even if you kept yourself in the best shape possible, because the wear and tear on your joints, every organ in your body, every muscle fiber. Yeah, I know. You still lift weights. You still drink your protein. You get it in. You hydrate. All that. You're in great shape, but it's still wear and tear, right? A younger muscle is better than an older muscle. In most cases, as far as we're talking endurance, we're talking being able to take a beating and come back, recovery time, stuff like that. So you also have a husband. And this is important, ladies, because I think a lot of you guys will glaze over this factor and not understand how important it is that you have a husband, right? So you have a support system there. Your husband, most likely, if you're an athlete, he's either some type of athlete or he likes sports. That's normally how it goes. If that's the case, he's been watching sports since he was a kid. A lot of you ladies, I hear that you played a sport, but you didn't really watch sports. But even if you did, you looked at it from a different lens. So, a man, you know, we watch sports from a different lens. If you have a husband, most likely he's seen 1,000 athletes get hurt. He's seen guys come back from injuries. He's seen guys play until retirement. So he's able to look at, you know, an athlete differently a little bit, an aging athlete a little bit different. And he just assesses it different. So you said that your husband is telling you, man, it just seems like you're playing to prove that you're not young. I mean, but you're not really having fun while you do it. You know, one of the things that I take pride in with my wife is making sure that I know when she's not doing well, because obviously I need to step it up in an area. That just might mean taking some responsibilities off her plate that day. That might mean she needs a movie night, right? That might mean, do I ask, hey, is anything bothering you? You got anything you want to talk about, right? So he is supposed to see when your mood changes, when things are different with you, when you're not yourself. So if he's telling you that you're not yourself, and you've been with this man for however long, most likely, honey, he's right. Most likely he's right. So if he says he doesn't seem like you're enjoying it anymore, you're probably not. You're probably not. When we don't enjoy something, it becomes work. And when something is work and it's not enjoyable, the only thing that makes us happy is the outcome. You understand? For example, when I go play basketball, I go for the cardio. I like to run around. I like to jump. I like to compete. Doesn't matter how many games I win or lose. I leave feeling like I did something, because at the age of 48, I'm much like you, Jeanette. If I guard somebody who's in their 20s, I feel pretty good about myself. Win, lose, or draw, I feel pretty good about myself. But if all I'm focused on is how many games I win, now I'm not enjoying running up and down. I'm not enjoying jumping and grabbing a couple rebounds. I'm not enjoying defense, because all I'm focused on is the outcome. When you're focused on the outcome, it's hard to enjoy the process. Very hard. So if all you're doing is going to these games and you're counting your points, you're counting your rebounds, you're gauging how many turnovers you have, you're not enjoying the game. You're enjoying the outcome. That's a 50-50 every time. You got 50% chance you're going to lose every time. You got to listen to your husband, because he's not telling you not to play. He's telling you that we got to attack it a little bit differently so that you can enjoy it. Because let's be clear about something, sweetie. If we're performing an activity that we don't enjoy and it's stressing us out, and we're becoming moody because of it, and we're not enjoying life because of it, that affects our family. That affects how we deal with our children. that affects how we show up for our husband. It does. Because if you're anything like me, if you're a competitor, if you lose a game and that's all you're focused on, you're thinking about that for 2 days. 2 days, maybe even 3. You can't get it off your mind. So we got to be careful how much weight, how much importance we attach to the wins and the losses, all right? So your body's becoming beat up and you're feeling pain in your knees, your back. I know how to go. Hip. Most likely your recovery is not there, sweetheart, and you're not taking enough days off. And I know why you're not taking enough days off, because you feel like the harder you go, the more you work out, the better you'll play in this league. The more endurance you'll have, the stronger you will be. More mobile you will be. There's truth to that, Jeanette, but you're not the girl who just shows up on Sundays. If you were the girl who just showed up on Sundays and you were having these same problems, I would say you need to work out. You need to watch what you eat. You need to sleep better. That's what I would say. You're not in that position. You're actually overtraining. So by the time the game comes around, your body's depleted. Your body's depleted, right? Exhausted. And you're asking it to perform. And you can't expect it to perform because, again, you're trying to work out like you did when you were 23. And then you're trying to step on the court and perform like you did when you were 23. And it's not coming together for you. Because your body had not gone through the punishment that you put it through over the last 20 years. So let's say you play on Sundays. Monday should be an automatic rest day. And I don't care how you feel after that game. Basketball is a very taxing sport. Volleyball, taxing, right? Some of you play flag football. Taxing. Got to put in a rest day after that. I would train Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Saturday being a lighter workout because you're going to play your game on Sunday. You have to realize your Sunday is a very exhausting, taxing period. That is a workout in itself. A lot of times we don't consider that the workout. That is a workout. Because you're probably exerting more energy during that time because you're trying to win. So if you're working out, let's just say you're running. If you feel super tired and exhausted, you can stop running for a little bit. You can walk. And then you'll pick back up again. If you're playing a basketball game, that's not what you're going to do. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Your Monday and Wednesday. I would make those active recovery days, and that would be light walking, not 5 miles, 2 miles, 2.5. I would take some dedicated time on Mondays and Wednesdays to stretch. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, actually. It would be light walking and it would be some static stretching. Some sauna, some whirlpool, cold plunge. You have to understand that the recovery is your friend right now. The recovery is your friend right now. You're not taking enough recovery. You're not paying attention to your body enough, and you're not getting enough sleep because you said 5 or 6 hours some nights. You got to fix that. And most of the time, guys, we can fix our sleep. I know it seems like we don't have enough time. I know it seems like, I'm dealing with this thing or that thing or this thing or that thing. We figure out everything else. We figure out how to fit in everything else. We got to figure out how to fit in our sleep. And if you're going to work out and try to perform at this level, and it doesn't seem like you're stopping anytime soon, sweetie, you have to continue to get your sleep. And it has to be quality sleep, and it has to be the same time, getting up at the same time every day, as much as you can. Now, you also talked about proving that you're not old. Okay. Now we didn't talk about your nutrition, but I will say that I would guess that if you've been competing at this level for a long time and you're a workout person and you run and you train, you've got the nutrition dialed in. I'm sure you have that dialed in. I see people that have nutrition dialed in, training dialed in, recovery days aren't dialed in, and their sleep isn't dialed. That's normally what happens. We talked about not being the old woman out there, the old gal out there, right? And one thing I find myself doing, I'm just being honest with you, I will compare myself to dudes in their early 30s. 32 years old. I'm looking at an influencer, man, I should be looking like him now. I should be able to press as much as he's pressing. I should be able to do as many muscle ups as he's doing. And it's a great goal to shoot for. But he hasn't gone through what I've gone through. There's no way he has. I've been on the earth 16 more years than him. 16 more years, okay? I'm just go out on a limb, and that's a bunch of months, okay? I should not be expected to do what that man does. Now, if I can keep up with, if I can at least compete with, I'm doing pretty well. But to expect that I can do everything that he does, I'm driving myself insane. I think you're driving yourself insane trying to compare yourself to the current 26 or 28-year-olds or the former, the Jeanette that was 26 or 28, the 26 to 28-year-old Jeanette. That's an unfair comparison, sweetie. We do it way too much. We expect to be able to perform like we did 20 years ago. And if you were on top of your game 20 years ago, why on earth would you be able to outperform that person? That's not even, it makes no biological sense. Again, competing. Again, being able to hold your own. Again, being able to run a mile without stopping, 2 miles without stopping, being able to train 3 and 4 days a week. That's hella good. But if you're a college level athlete, at least, and I don't care if it's D3, JUCO, D1, D2, you are insane to think you're going to stay that way forever. You can try your best, but at some point you start to decline just a tiny bit, and it might just be you were able to play 5 games of basketball before at a high level. Now you can only play 2 at a high level. It doesn't mean you can't play at a high level. You just can't play as many at a high level, right? Just wear and tear. And you said something about, getting older. Number one, it's a thing that we're all going to get older. It doesn't mean that you're irrelevant. It does not mean that you're out of touch or, at some point you're not going to be able to play, because there's people that play into their 70s. But a lot of people switch up their activities and they excel in that activity. Meaning the guys that wrestle, right? They might have to get into coaching wrestling perhaps, right? Or they may have to get into wrestling that doesn't last 3 rounds, let's say. Maybe it's 1 round. Okay? Maybe they get into boxing instead of wrestling because it just doesn't beat their body up as much. So it doesn't mean that you can't compete. It doesn't mean that you're not going to be on a high level. But you may have to switch up, the activity you're participating in. Getting older is not a bad thing. Getting older and not moving, getting older and not paying attention to your nutrition, getting older and not prioritizing your sleep is a bad thing. Just look up on social media. I'm telling you, go on Instagram, look up healthy seniors. That's all you got to do. I'm telling you, it'll blow your mind. Some of these people are in their 70s and they got white hair, so you could tell, well, he's older. But they're in the same type of shape that 50-year-olds are in. And I gotta be honest with you, Jeanette. As much as I would love to look like I'm 30, man, being mistaken for being 10 years younger is pretty darn good. And I've also seen that a lot of us stay there. Like we get to that 40-year-old mark, and if we're super healthy and we're dialed in, we stay looking 40 for a long time. But even if you can appear just about 10 years younger than what you are, biologically, or chronologically, I should say. Is that right? You're in pretty good shape. And I don't care what age you are. But again, there are people that we see and we know they're older, but when they're super healthy, man, it just lets you know, like, man, they're doing something right. So, sweetie, stop worrying about being older. You've been older for a little bit now. Who cares? If you're healthy and you feel good and your family's healthy and you're showing up for your family and you're still able to compete, even though you can't compete like you used to, you're still able to compete. Man, that's saying a lot, because you're part of the small percentage of even college athletes. Because, sweetie, most of them don't keep playing at a high level after they're done. All right? So have some more confidence in yourself. You're doing all right. But make sure you recover, and let's listen to your husband a little bit. All right? So if you have a submission like hers, a letter like hers, that you would like to submit to me, and for me to put it either on a Q&A or on a Lunchtime Logic, please email me at coachmark22@gmail.com. That is coachmark22@gmail.com. Now, if you are like Jeanette and you feel like you need some personal one-on-one attention to get you through the next 3 months, 6 months, maybe even a year, you need some coaching. All right? Click the link in my bio. Sign up for a free consultation. We'll get on a Zoom face-to-face. We'll just talk about it, whether or not we're a good match for each other. We might not be a good match for each other. Or if we can establish some type of relationship and get you closer to your goal. That's what I'm here to do. All right? So, it is your guy, Coach Mark. This is Transformation Station. And this has been Lunchtime Logic. I'll see you guys tomorrow.